Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm playing host, and I know many of us are going through some tough times right now, adjusting to the new norm with the current crisis that's going on in Malaysia and in the world. I just had to get one of my good friends, an entrepreneur that I have super high regards for because of his business acumen, success as an entrepreneur, to share some insights with us today. He is none other than the number one force in Feng Shui, Chinese metaphysics, and in the world. Author of 182 books, published in 7 different languages, sold more than 4.5 million copies globally. A king in his field. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Dato' Joey Yap.
Hey, Chris, how are you, man?
Hi, Dato'.
Hey.
All good, all good. I'm super grateful that you can spend some time to chat with me.
Thank you.
Share
Thank
some,
you.
to share some valuable.
The opportunity to speak to your group.
Yeah,
It's always good to nowadays got nothing much to do other than do some live events. So I'm I'm grateful for the opportunity with your group of SMEs today.
yeah. Many of the people who are tuning in are my clients, SMEs from all around Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand.
Okay.
They've been with us since our Yellow Pages days,
Okay.
and still with us today in this digital marketing era.
Right. Thank you.
Well,
All right.
ladies and gentlemen, back in January this year, Dr. Joey advised an audience of 15,000 in Kuala Lumpur, one of the biggest feng shui events in the world, to have 6 months cash flow to prepare for some financial tough times. I'm sure those who listened to him back then is super grateful now during this pandemic. But those who didn't, this is your chance now. We have an hour to tap into Dr. Joey's experience, his take and his insight. We're going to make full use of every minute today. We'll basically cover an overview of Dr. Joey's career, how he started, his take on how COVID-19 is affecting business owners, and what action business owners need to take during this crisis, and probably what to expect after this pandemic is finally over. So I want to talk to you so much about so many things I want to talk to you about, Dr. Joey.
No problem.
Some of the audience may not be familiar with the story of your origin. Probably you can share how you started. How did the idea of your business come about, and what was your key driving force to become an entrepreneur and now a king in your field, a vertical leader?
Right. I think the intention to become an entrepreneur in this field wasn't intentional. Okay, so because I'm not a natural naturally inclined entrepreneur by birth. Okay, so I regard myself more as an artist because I have an art. My interest is and always has been in metaphysics. So feng shui, astrology has always been my interest. So the shift to become an entrepreneur is only because I'm influenced by a lot of or many of my clients who are entrepreneurs in their field, and they give me a lot of ideas. As I'm coaching them, as I'm going through doing the consults for them, I also get some feedback, and they will tell me, hey, you're doing this. You can't just do consults for the rest of your life. You got to be able to do, be able to leverage this and put it up to the mass market. So I get a lot of these ideas. And I have to be a complete fool not to be able to pick up any skill set from these multi-billionaire clients that I have, right? It's from that I get influenced into moving into becoming a business owner, a proper business owner, and subsequently becoming, an entrepreneur. Okay, so it's because of that. So I didn't do this intentionally from day one, and from day one now, my goal has always been to take this art and spread it across the world and teach this, use this, because I love this art.
So you didn't have a business plan, this is what I want to do for the next 10 years and all, and this is how I want to create a business.
Now I do. When I first started, I didn't. Okay, so I think this is a message I want to give to a lot of young and upcoming entrepreneurs or budding business owners. You don't have to have all this figured out in the start. Right, you can't figure this all out at the start. Nobody does that. Like a lot of my business entrepreneur friends, they sort of fall into place, and now because they're so successful, they just tell everyone that I knew I was doing all this while. Of course, like, we tell people that so we look good. Nobody knows.
Right.
None of us know what the hell was going on when we first started. We
Yeah.
just a lot of grit. We hustle. We stayed focused, and we just knew what we wanted, which is to our passion for this art. Okay, and along the way, be willing to learn, be willing to pivot, be willing to adapt, and that's a lot of entrepreneurship is about this.
But the core is also important, right? Your passion
Yeah.
to build this, to actually expedite your passion on this art. And they say success leaves trails, right?
Yes,
So do you-
the core interest is important, but I will only be passionate, or anyone will only be passionate about anything if they're good at it.
that's
If you just imagine if you suck at doing something, right, you won't have that passion for too long, right? It's you're like, oh, I'm not really born to do this stuff because you suck at it, right? So if someone is good, or if you develop a skill set that ultimately you hone it and become something really good, the passion will be there. So it's a byproduct of something that you do really well.
how do you build a successful customer base after that? Like they say that your business is you have to have like a good community or strong customer base, the raving fans they call, right? People who really believe in your passion or also atone to your ideas. So how do you build that?
This is an interesting question. It's like this. I like to, and I'm sure you do too. You like to attend a lot of concerts, right? You see a lot of your, favorite singers or bands singing, and then you look around, right? You see groupies on, right? You see groupies like, wow, they will do everything for that star, and they don't know that star, right? Now they don't know them personally. Now, why would that be like this? It's because they felt that the star cared for them. They felt that this so-called superstar, rock star, rock band, right? They somewhat care for them. They send out posts. They answer some of their personal messages. When that happens, you build in that era a fan base. About if you use the same concept for business, basically, if you just care for your even potential customers or people who get in touch or connect with your work in some ways, you connect with them. And over time, this builds a fan base because it's the value that you add. So if you can create this sort of value over time, I do it through education, I do it through books, I do it through a lot of free courses and webinars. So that way, over time, you create a fan base. Now, I don't like to use the word groupies, right? Because that's what in rock bands.
Yeah.
But get a group of people that would want to speak the same language, right? If you follow the superstars, you follow Lady Gaga, you follow anyone, right? Bon Jovi or something, you sort of speak the language, you speak the same. You're a fan of
Who is your favorite singer? Like who is your
singer, I would say,
yeah.
right? And then because that's what we do in karaoke, but there is. I mean, there's so many rock bands, there's Bon Jovi and all that we also follow, and those days we have all these singers, but when you see this over time, you sort of realize that it's not that hard to build a so-called fan base if you just show some empathy, which is what all people, and I think entrepreneurs need, not just pop icons, So if you look at building a business similar to building a pop culture, then you will have that fan base.
So it's just caring for them, empathizing them, and giving value to them without just asking for their business all the time, right? Just throwing out and giving value, educating them, sharing with them.
Another way of saying this, in the business world, they call this marketing, right? In the pop icon world, they call it building fans, right?
Right.
It's just a different language. I think if you're in the entrepreneurs world, they use the business terms for it, right? So, but I think it's nicer to use if you're trying to build a fan base. You're building a pop culture, because culture is what brings people forward, right? If you build a culture around your business, they speak the same language, you have the same crusade. They go out and fight the crusade. They want to spread the truth, right? That's how it's done.
So I would like to dive into some maybe fact-based discussion now about this COVID-19 pandemic. I'm sure a lot of our audience will want to hear your opinion, your take on. What worries you the most in this current outbreak crisis?
Well, I think there are a few aspects like in terms of health wise, it is affecting a lot of people's health. And at the end of the day, it is the most important thing uh, for anyone who will come out to work. Life itself, if you don't have the health, right, what's wealth anymore, right?
Yeah,
That's what
true.
that is.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think the thing that worries me the most is it affects people's trust with one another. Nowadays, you see another person, the flip cough on you, right? You're like, oh, this person might have the there's this problem, right?
yeah,
You don't even know these people, and the first thing that goes through your mind is, I don't trust this guy, he might have the virus.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I don't like. It's like, when I was traveling in 911 at the time, after post 911, people don't trust anyone, right? You got nail clipper in your bag, they take it out and they say you might do something in the plane and that's not good. That trust is gone. Okay. That's humanity side, right? Business wise, I think as long as there's travel restrictions, right, and that impedes trade or overall manufacturing, supply
Yeah.
chains, that affects a lot of people, right? But I'm sure that over time will improve.
So fear is one of the things that worries a lot of people.
Yeah, actually, right now it's not like the world doesn't have money. Right? You think about it in a more, you know, calm way, lah. The
Yeah.
stimulus package provided by all governments across the world, people got money, right? It's just that the fear is like, oh no, I don't know if I should spend it or not. What should I do?
Yeah.
That's the only
Conserve
problem.
cash.
Yeah, conserve cash. The thing
Yeah.
is not just conserving. The thing you see, the reason why I ask people to save up so that now you can spend it, because this is the time to expand, not time for you to go and retract, right?
Yep.
You should retract earlier before this thing happened. Now it's time
Yeah.
to move forward. Basically, this principle is be greedy when others are fearful, be fearful when others are greedy. This is a Warren Buffett principle.
Yeah, and also I heard one of your previous live talk with Adam Khoo. You also
Yeah.
said that this is a great time. Everything is cheap. Investment.
Advertising is
Yeah, yeah. We are going through this period of uncertainty right now. I think people are confused on what to do, especially business owners, right?
Right.
They are so concerned about their revenue, their finances, what to invest, staff morale, operations. What is your advice to these business owners? What is the
Okay,
first key thing they need to be thinking of?
first key to do is to survive. Okay, there are two categories with people, the one who survive and one who thrive. Let's talk about surviving first.
Okay.
For the average business owner, probably less than 5 years of business, they probably don't have that traction to suddenly grow, which is I think quite reasonable, because a lot of businesses fail in the first 5 years anyway. This is statistically, okay? Not many businesses will survive the first 5 years. Now, so I would think the first thing you need to think about is not about, oh, I'm going to cash in on all the opportunities. That is for the big boys to talk about, right?
Yep.
What you want to do is survive, right? Survival is profit right now.
Yep.
Okay, survive first. So when we talk about survival, the thing is about switching from strategy to tactics. This is important, because everyone out there right now, all the business gurus and everyone saying, oh, you need strategy, strategy, strategy. But think about this, now is not the time for strategy. In prosperous times, we can talk about 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
In
the long term, right?
long term, now is you live first, is strategy. But you go to a hospital right now, right? If you're in an emergency room, what do they measure? They can see whether your heart rate is okay. They see your blood pressure all right or not. They're not going to check your cholesterol right now. They're not going to check diet, So that cholesterol and dieting is strategy, right? Right now is survival. So
All tactical, huh?
tactical. So the thing is, what works now has to be deployed instantaneously. So that is my contrarian approach to this, Yeah, people are strategy. What is the crisis strategy? That one is different group of people talk. The first group is survive first. If you can survive, right? Because now you see the so-called last time you must have certain level of profit, Now you zero out its core profit already,
Yeah.
Right? Because
you can survive is already okay, right?
if you survive, right, you live to fight another day. Okay, so
true.
stage one, get through that first, right? Get through that, and then you can talk about implementing strategy. Okay, this is realistically that's the way to handle this, right? Because otherwise, people are stressed out. I don't see any opportunity. How,
Yeah.
First,
What about you, Dato? How has this crisis affected your business?
Well, the biggest thing is I have a lot of live events that are planned out. Okay, so I have to switch the live events to live stream events. That switch is the biggest thing for my team to change, because I have a lot of team that are necessary when we do a live event. For example, sound systems, right? Because we do it like a concert, so the backstage and all the people, the events organizers, setting up all that, that is a live, in-person event thing. But when you do it to a live stream now, you actually need less manpower and a lot on tech, which is the main shift that we have now. Now the thing is, this is not the first time we're doing live stream events. I've been doing that for a couple of years. It's just it's not my main thing. It's 50% of what I do. Now 50% become 100% now. That's all it is.
Yeah, right. So, but even after, like, we have the MCO phase 1, then after the MCO phase 2, now we have phase 3. Probably might linger a longer period. And even if it doesn't, if let's say the MCO is lifted, people will still be practicing social distancing and be very cautious to join gatherings and all. So is this going to be like a long-term change or new norm for your business?
A new norm already, because all this while, I've always wanted to do things only online. And always wanted to. That's why I've been doing online courses. I film those courses. I always think that, can the business operate without me, so that I can concentrate on the art instead of concentrating on the battle? Because as you know, running a business, there are a lot of things you worry about. You worry about promotion, worry about finance, or staff issues, or everyone is a human being, and human beings have a lot of problems, right? So I don't want to deal with these problems, because I'm an artist. I love to do the art, right? So in order to do the art, artists need freedom. So I always think that, can this thing still be run with little of my involvement? That was years ago. I've been planning that. Okay. So that's why we have online courses and all that. And I've even set up way before the MCO, way before this. Last year in November, I set up an additional studio in my next door apartment. The next door unit, because it was empty, so I got it, and then I set up a home studio. So basically, I can now deploy my battles from my secret headquarters without leaving the house. Technically, I just walk 5 feet across to the next house and launch my battle from there. So it's been done months before. Again, I say that I predict this. No, I just see that my future, I need to do this. So that's all it is.
Like for us, PanPages Trinity, we have been trying to evangelize the importance of going digital to the SME market for years.
It's always been important.
And, but it's so hard for people to to really transform, because it takes from top to bottom, like the buy-in from the CEO, the CTOs, everybody as a collective organization to go into digital. I think now after this MCO, we have been getting so many inquiries, like so many people are reaching out to us and say, how do now I need to go to digital. How do I start my page? How do I build my website? And I think now the number one driver for digital transformation is Mr. COVID-19.
Yeah, and after this, people, more of them will want to get prepared. Like, for example, because you plan for something, like, we want to do things online and do it from home. I mean, working from home is not new to me. It's new to some half of my staff, because they don't work from home. I work from home, right? So, but to move into digital, right? To move into digital, it's a shift for a lot of people, because it requires a mental shift. It requires an emotional shift, because they've been used to getting into a place to do something. But now with this emergency happening, they have to get used to it faster. Even for us, we have to, some things, right, while we're doing it, half our team need to get used to it, because this is the new norm. And after this whole COVID-19, people will still use this. And in fact, it's much more efficient for business. Now we are able to do a lot of things that we can do with less resources. Okay, we now realize we don't need half the office space that we have.
Not so good news to the property side.
Actually, it's not good for a lot of landlords who are renting offices right now, because a lot of businesses after this realize that they actually don't need that much office space.
Yeah, I think now people are forced to think about the digital transformation. Like we do see a lot of SMEs now. For the first time, they go into Zoom. For the first time, they use like Google Hangouts and all. And but I still see there's many companies will continue to struggle. Why do you think some companies fail in their digital transformation? Like,
I think it's the leader.
Leader.
All changes requires change from the top. Okay, culture. I see the unwritten rule in any business. The unwritten rule is how you do business in your business. Okay, what you stand for, what you don't stand for. That's basically what we call corporate culture. Corporate culture is developed by the leaders in that business. Okay, so if the leader in the business likes to, entertains backstabbing lah, yeah. If you entertain backstabbing, in business like that, why are this company got a lot of people backstab? Because the boss listen. You see, he don't listen them, right?
Yeah, true. You set the tone, right? You set the culture as a leader.
Your immediate superior don't care about who say who about what. Nobody starts to care. So likewise, if the immediate heads embrace the change and they do this, you see, if you decide, if the boss say, I'm going to talk to you on Zoom, all of you just have to be on Zoom. There's no other.
Yeah, true,
right?
true.
I don't care whether you know it or not, but you just have to be there, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's how you make that change lah. It's from the top.
How do you advise businesses in this current situation to transform and leverage on the digital solution effectively, like now?
Okay, first few things are change, right, can be voluntarily or it can be forced upon you. Okay, if you allow COVID-19 to force this on you, then I think you're not going to be comfortable and not going to be happy lah. So I would suggest that it be volunteer. That means you actually do this. Okay, you make it a point to shift your business to digital. There are a few things to do. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to convert your lead generation online.
Generation online. Yep.
Potential customer base, yeah, or in our culture, it's called a fan base. It has to be online. Okay. Now you may say, but restaurant cannot. Restaurants still can. You gotta have a fan base online. Okay.
Fan base online.
So that first shift. Okay. How you get business has to be done online. How you do business can still be offline. Okay, because eventually you still have to go out and eat, right, in the restaurant. Prior to that, how you connect with them has to be and must be done digitally. That's how you can do it, right? Not right. You can do it as the same. Advertising. You think about advertising. Is it always on a billboard? Not really. Well, nowadays people do it online, man. Right?
Yep.
So what's the
I really
difference?
love your advice. Get business online, but you can do business offline. Right?
Yeah, because that's exactly how one should be. Because some businesses have to be actual physical delivery, right? Now you manufacture or whatever it is physical, that one you cannot change. But how you get the business can be done online, because advertising is virtual anyway, right? It's not always a billboard. Nowadays, billboards are on a website or on a Facebook, on Google, on YouTube. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, true. There are also a lot of success cases for digital transformation during this crisis. Some companies anticipated the risk and proactively adapted. There's this China-based cosmetic brand called Forest Cabin. They had to close like half of their 300 stores across China. No choice, right? Then January supposed to be like their peak season, and they dropped 90% in terms of their sales. Lost like 30 million renminbi in a month, almost going to bankrupt under the 2 months already. Then they had the big turnaround strategy. They trained all their 1,600 beauty advisors from their shops, the physical shops, to become like digital influencers, online influencers, do video marketing, live streaming, online ads, and communicated with clients via like the WeChats and the Moments on social media platforms. At the end, they got like 200% increment in sales compared to the previous year. Right?
They get business. That's what they do.
Yeah. But of course, I'm sure there was a very painful process, but there are some success cases like this.
Well, if they're willing to change, it's easier than the change forced onto them. The thing is, when people resist change, that's when the problem happens. This is in metaphysics. We always say, you resist a clash. People say, I don't like a clash to my animal sign. That's what it means, that change is coming. Either it's forced onto you or you're willing to change it yourself. So the thing is, the virus doesn't care about whether you like it or not. That's the problem. Right?
But now, Dato, what about those older generation business owners who've been relying solely on traditional methods, never been exposed to digital online platforms, no clue how to go about it? How can they survive this crisis now?
Then there's a few questions that I ask yourself. You mean you're old, you got no children, right? Your job is to have children, right?
True.
If young generation, right? Or if you don't have children, surely you must have younger people who knows what to do. Everything that we want in life comes from the help of other people. So get other people to do it, lah, right? So there are other people who knows how to do things online. Like for example, I don't know how to do all this programming and advertisements and all this stuff. I don't know how to do it. I just know this is what I want, and then some people will know how to do it in the team, and they will do it.
True.
Okay.
I think leveraging on
Yeah.
your resources, right?
If you want to eat a specific dish like Hokkien mee, and you don't know how to cook that Hokkien mee, what should you do? You go and find someone who knows how to cook and buy it from them, huh? Right?
That's a very good analogy. Yeah.
So the problem is most of this, you say old people, they say I cannot do this. This is the same way as buying Hokkien mee, anima. Go and buy it from somebody who does.
Get the expert outsource to people, or find your, like you say, children to do it.
The children, why you don't give birth? That's the problem.
So what do you think about what will happen after the, let's say, MCO is finally lifted and or this whole crisis is finally over? What do you think? What we should do?
Okay, right now, you see what we are worried about is the health crisis of COVID-19. No, what you need to worry about is the financial crisis, because right now you see people will go out. The first thing that happens, people go out shopping. Okay, so shops make money first, then and of course you think that's good, right? The shop owners think is very good for a while, yeah. Then the people who buy suddenly realize, oh shit, I don't have a job right now. They just lost their job, right? So now what is it? That is what we need to plan for, okay? Because right now there's artificial money being pumped into the economy from all sorts of stimulus to keep things okay. The question is when that is removed. Don't forget, our stimulus here, 3 months anyway, right? A couple of months. After that will happen. That is the question that we need to answer and prepare for. So for those who prepare for that, that's when opportunities will come, because that is when the real market condition will reveal itself. Because right now, there's still a small little boost, that bump that's going to come after people release for a long time. You are trapped in them, right? You're trapped in the house. All of us thinking, wow, when is the next time we can go to the next hot pot? Cannot hot pot now. Right? It's like you suddenly release from jail. You want to do a lot of things, but you cannot. The hyper level is only for a while. Thereafter, it's going to go back to the reality.
Go back to the reality, you kick in again, and then people start to know, hey, I don't have enough cash. Why my income? Where do I go?
They lost their job, right? So that is what they need to think about. Okay,
prepare also, right? And so basically, what you're saying is act fast, and to be able to change your mindset, and if you don't have the infrastructure or don't have the knowledge to get people or get help from whoever that you can to make sure that you go into this path. I think that is overall what you're saying. And
something I need to add in here. A lot of people are saying that I don't like this people that are trying to market at this time. People should just be worried about health. Actually, you must understand. Those who are marketing right now is trying to keep their lights open. You got to have some sympathy here with the people who are trying to keep their business afloat, so that the employees, everyone has a job. So some people, I don't like this advertising going on in all this Google and Facebook and all that. Listen, these are the people who's trying to fight for their family. Are you doing the same thing? So have some sympathy and think about what people are doing right now. So support the business. If everyone's going to contract, that's when the economy is going to have a problem.
True. I'm sure if when you make it in terms of you have a large community of people following you, there will always be like doomsayers, naysayers, negative people, right? Yeah. And I think many of the business owners, especially the SMEs, they take the small comments, one comment, a very big impact to them. You see, on one bad guy saying bad thing, I don't even dare to start my Facebook page, because what if someone complain about my thing? I
think people are too afraid of that, and they don't get started, which is a big problem. But I think the problem with a lot of people is they don't realize that the whole so-called economic downfall is because of fear. And if we fear too, we are adding on to the problem. So we should do the contrary to this.
Fight the fear. Opposite of fear, right?
what makes it work again.
True. Well, I have one more question for you, Dato. I think
Yeah.
I'll just end it with a lighter question. With this movement restriction order right in place, and we've already in the 5th week into the working from home, do you mind sharing with us your outline of your typical day? How does it feel like being at home with all the kids and managing work and leading the entire organization in so many countries? So how do you do that? What was your typical day like?
Okay, the typical thing is I get to my office, which I have a home office, and I shut the door. I get occasional knocks when the kids will come in and all that. But most of the time, they will know how to leave me alone to work. And I think this is very important because if you don't go to work technically, you don't do that, your mind doesn't set in. There is an art to working from home, There's an art to, right? So as an entrepreneur, home-based entrepreneur for a long time, even though when I have an office, I still like to do my writing and all that from home. So you got to have a routine that allows you to go to work. So I go to work when I get into my office. Okay, so then I just turn on JY, and then JY start doing his stuff, right? So then you get out of your room, which is to get out of the office, and then you become the father, the family man, and all that. So you got to get into that mode, and you got to set a timeline when you go to work. It's basically you're going to be there to really think about solving business problems. So I have my meetings. I have I have set the meetings with we have a town hall meeting. A town hall meeting is, for those who are not aware, we talk to everybody in the company, because this is a time where you must communicate and over communicate with every single person. In those days when you can see each other, it's different. Now you cannot see each other physically. You have to over communicate. So there is a minimum of 2 main town halls with the entire company a week, and then every day there will be departmental meetings. And morning and night, there are morning huddles and evening huddles where they need to make sure, report 3 important things, right? The first thing is what's good, right? I need to know what's good is happening, man. Second thing is what's bad, because you got to balance it. Everyone tell you what's good, right? It cannot be right now. And then number 3, what makes my decision? Because your manager have to make decisions, right? You're the boss, you make decisions. So if they don't make it clear, you also don't know what they want to know, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So a lot of communication going on a daily basis. What's good, what's bad, what's happening with everybody, and to make sure that you have your own office. If you don't have the space or extra room,
dedicate for this.
Dedicate one area.
Yeah, an area for this, and go to work. Okay, and so you go to work, you sit there, you basically turn on your working mode that you have to physically or mentally shift on, because otherwise suddenly you'll be watching this YouTube, suddenly you'll be watching Netflix, which is very unproductive at this point in time. Okay, so that's one thing. And the second thing that I think you need to do is which is what all business need to do, it's basically to cut wastages. This is important. Okay, so you may think, no, we don't cut wastages. No. This is a great time to trim the fat. When else would you want to trim the fat? This is the time to trim the fat. So at every business, this so-called crisis allows you to see where your company is using resources, where the company is also wasting a lot of resources, because now you could do the same thing without using some of these resources. So get rid of them. Okay, don't be afraid to do that, because a good entrepreneur must, you must separate the business operation than this is your baby. Your baby you cannot throw away, but this is not your baby. And some things in the business that is not working out, wastages, for example, you may go green, for example. Don't print that, right? You don't need a lot of so-called allowances, right, that you used to give during good times. Now don't give. Okay, it's okay, because nobody's driving out there, nobody's making those. Internet is free. You need to know how to do that part.
Trim the fats and making sure that you communicate well.
Yeah.
I think thank you so much, Dr. Joey. You have given us so much advice, and I think a lot of our audience here would want to ask you some questions. We've already 34 minutes on live. I think there will be quite a number of people who would like to ask you some questions or ask us some questions. Maybe we pick up some. Questions if you all have any questions you all have from the audience for Dr. Joey here. Right, Kamika Chow says, any ideas for persons who are unemployed in regards to preparation for the financial crisis?
Yes, that is absolutely something you should do. It's not an idea, it's a must. You must learn a skill, a new skill that you originally don't have. Okay, this is not even a suggestion, it is compulsory. So
Yeah.
it's compulsory. If you always have been saying there's no time to learn, this is the time to learn. Do you
Yeah.
want to? Question is this: do you want to stay unemployed, or do you want to be employed? To be employed, you need a skill that is useful in the economy that you're in the market that you serve. Don't learn a skill that is not good, not necessary. So because it's like this. Business is basically three things. Number one, find out what people want. Number two, go and get it. Number three, go and give it to them. So if I use it in terms of a potential unemployed person, is find out what skill people want, go and learn it, and give it to them. That's how you get it. Simple.
Yep. Yep. So, but they'll be a little bit tough for those who don't have the resources. And so, what is your suggestion to them? Like,
There are a lot
what can it?
doesn't require a lot of resources to learn. YouTube has a lot of people teaching things for free. Okay, there are a lot of downloadable notes or books
Yep.
out you can learn for
Yep.
free. Do it until you support something. Okay, that's number one. That is if you don't want to use other people's resources. The other one is be a bit more bold. Okay, which means you ask for other people to sponsor. Okay, people you trust, and then repay that in 2 or 3 more times. That requires you to be a bit more bold, but it gets you started.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. That's
same
very
way
true.
do they go and study and get education? Do they not get sponsorship?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Sponsorship what happen? They work for the company, correct?
Yeah.
On a big scale, but you can do that on a small scale. There are people with money but no time. Okay, so perhaps if you learn a skill that is useful for them, they might sponsor you.
True. True.
Right?
That's a very good advice. Okay,
So
let's see what other questions you all have for us. Okay, Theo Gyap Singh say, Dato Joey spent time building and cultivating his fans in groups. He got a lot of followers. Maybe you can share his experience in building this.
the educational, I think education is a very good form of marketing. Okay, education is a very good form of marketing because first of all, it gives a lot of value. It is not blatant buy this, buy this, buy this type of marketing. It's generally you educate someone benefited from it. It builds trust, and always remember there's this thing called yin and yang, law of reciprocity. When you do something good for somebody, somebody remembers you, and when they need that service, they'll look for you. It's slow, but that's how you build the so-called following. The problem is people in social media like to post only their handsome photos, six packs, beautiful body. Okay, there's some guys and some girls will go and click like, but then what do they get? This one only see for a while, cannot do anything, No. What can you do? So there's no real value in that. But if you give them intellectual value, right, they learn something, it impacts the brain. Over time, it also impacts the emotions. When you impact someone's emotions over time, people will take action because action is emotion.
Yep. So instead of showing off your six packs and all, you should actually teach people how to get the six packs.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
No,
Okay.
Are we answering something?
Okay, another question. Kim Siu Q say, please share with me which video app that you use to shoot all your live videos.
My live videos, I just use YouTube, Facebook, all those features in the phone. Your phone can actually do that. I think it's not so much the tech. People keep worrying about the tech. It's more like the content that you are putting out. Is it something that you are interested in giving? Is it something that the other person is interested in listening? If that's the case, it doesn't really matter the tech so much, the type of camera or the type of app. It's gonna be the best app. Basically, we're finding an excuse not to do the job, lah. That's what people are saying. So that's I think what people are.
I think with the lockdown now, like the social media platforms like YouTube's and Facebook, so easy. You have like watch parties, go live with a click of the button, and it's just so easy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Victor Fong asks here, for newbies looking to start lead generation online, what is the best way to start?
The easiest is to give something of value for free, lah. right? The
Right,
same thing
right.
gives value for free. So you can do it through writing articles, newsletters, ebooks. I do it through books, of course. That's what I do. You can do something that your competitors not doing. If a competitor is doing video, you don't do video lah. Yeah, your
Do
competitors
something different.
yeah, you must do something different because the thing is, it's very hard to go and compete when someone else there's some comparison. Just remember, if you do something that has got no comparison, then you're the number one already, right?
Yeah, yeah, true, true, true. Yes.
Right. So that's
So I
that's
think,
what I think like, yeah.
yeah, just have to start somewhere.
Okay.
Okay. Ashu Sinha here. How to overcome the need to be perfect before going online?
Right. The need to be perfect. I think we are. First of all, I don't think we can be as perfect as possible lah. That's what it is lah. So I like to be as perfect as possible, but I also need something to be workable. So as long as it's workable, we will release it and correct it along the way. So I would like to regard this as something of piloting a plane, right? In flying a plane, right? You set the autopilot. You know what? The most important job that a pilot does is taking off and landing only. Yeah, because that's done manually. But when you fly from one place to another, there's autopilot. You set the course and it flies. But along the way, what do? You make some adjustments, because we're off track a little bit. You see it off track, then you make some adjustments, So that's what you should be doing when you're trying to go online or trying to launch something, because it's no way that you set, a course and then it will just takes on that direction and doesn't change at all. It moves out of direction and you need to steer it back on course. So that is an ongoing process. If you remember that, I think you can launch anything online.
Yeah. So just go into the journey first and then tweak and tweak. Don't be too afraid to start. I think, like you said earlier on, fear is the number one issue that we have to face to start anything, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay.
You want to? Okay.
Jonathan Young says, during or post MCO, do you have any insight on which industries will flourish or vice versa?
Very simple. Anything that can work from home is flourishing right now. Okay. Don't you know that online platforms, clearly that's the thing. It's just that people don't want to accept it. They don't want to. They want their industry to do well, which is I think it's wishful thinking like our industry, unless we can move it digital, it's not going to flourish during and post MCO. That's the thing already. Okay, this is carved in stone. Okay, you don't need someone to predict that. You already know that. Question is, do you accept it?
Yep. I think whoever who can transform their business by working from home effectively, those will flourish.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so that's pretty much it, right? Is there any more?
All right. I think we're already 40 minutes, and I think it's a great session. I think if you have more questions, you can still throw it into the live comment section. Maybe later we could answer it later in our due time. Right. Thank you so much once again. I think today we have the session enough. Thank you so much, Dr. Joey, for this wonderful session and sharing your take and giving us so much usable advice, especially for SMEs, our audience SMEs who are really thinking of how to go into digital, how do they survive the critical survival aspect of things now. And I think this pandemic will continue to linger. People will be continue to be very cautious. I think it is a wonderful session that you have with us. Yap. You so much once again, Dr. Yap.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
So I'll see you guys